guys, welcome back to the new channel. We appreciate you following and sticking with us. And today we're gonna get right down to some beef. 3 people have asked in the last 24 hours if I would do a video on the pluses and the minuses, comparing Thailand versus the Philippines. And I said, okay, I can do that. I was gonna do that in depth, but I'll kind of make a real quick one. And I'm open to your feedback all the time. So there are basic huge differences between the two countries. Of course, language, currency, all those kind of things. However, first off, the plus side of the Philippines. Almost everybody there speaks English. And I have more than one expat friend that have told me of their concern, their fear factor, their not wanting to be in a country that they can't talk. And I get that. And I've had those situations, but I think that it's surmountable. It's not insurmountable. That's probably the best way to say that. However, I think that it is a big plus for the Philippines. So on the plus side is the language and the ease of communicating for the most part in Philippines. On the other side is Thailand. I have many expats that have told me they don't want to come here because of the language, because of the street signs. And again, I'm going on 6 months and I haven't found it to be insurmountable. Yes, I've had several instances of major screw ups. And let me tell you about my favorite one. I go into one of my favorite restaurants now and occasionally I'll have a burger. The beef they get here is from Australia. At least that's the places that I go. And it's actually really tasty. So I asked for a burger. And I made the effort to say, no pickles, no onions, no tomatoes, none of that stuff. And what I ended up getting here in Thailand is a bun burger. No beef, no egg, just cheese and bread. And when I called over the owner, who I've become friends with, and I told her what had happened, because it was one of the waitresses, and she laughed, and I didn't have to pay. And there was a very much a learning experience. And so now I literally point to the menu and I hold up my finger for one. And I was doing that in the Philippines. So 1 plus for the Philippines. The other thing, the other big, I don't want to say big plus, the other subtle difference is visas. So Steve, we've talked about on this channel, the SRRVs, we've talked about, it's really interesting because there are similarities and they're worlds apart. My SRRV, to me, it seemed like I had to go through a lot of hoops and, with the DD-214, apostatize, health, law, all that stuff that goes with that, your income. However, on the other side of that rainbow, you have the longer term, easier SRRV in the Philippines. I think it's almost kind of a wash because, and I'll tell you why, that everyone again told me that how scary it's going to be if I go to Thailand. The language and the visa. I was told by multiple people how it was going to be tough to get a visa, it's expensive, they don't like us here. Literally, these are quotes from people that talk to me about it. As the water creeps in on me. What I found was 2 things in both countries. One is, don't believe what people tell you. I mean, what is it Reagan said? Believe, but confirm, but verify, I think. Believe, but I don't know. He said something like that, and I tell you the same thing. These are my experiences, check out your own. But a visa here in Thailand, I have a retirement O visa. And both places, the Philippines and in Thailand, I used an agent. In the Philippines, Mary Rose and Thelma, oh my gosh, they were so helpful and they are paid for by the government. And they're great people and they're easy to work with, and I love them both. And I'm going to put their contact information down below. Thailand, I also went out and got an agent. Now, excuse me, you may say, oh, I mean, people have literally told me, well, I did that on my own. Well, more power to you. I wanted to make sure I did it right because I've actually already heard horror stories about expats and foreigners that believed that it was simple. They went out to get their visa and they checked the wrong box, and now I don't even remember what their story was, but now they got in hot water because they didn't do it correctly. So I went and got an agent. I'm going to have her on in the following weeks. And yes, you have to pay. However, with that being said, she made it a breeze. I trusted her. She did it quickly, and she kept me in the loop all along the way. So I almost want to say it's a wash, with the Philippines probably having a slight edge. And especially they had the edge when you could do a 2-year visa. And as Steve has reported, there's changes there. Now it's only 1 year. And that's okay. The SRRV program is wonderful in the Philippines. And if you're ex-military, which is why there's so many ex-military in the Philippines, if you're ex-military, and I'm 2 branches, it's so affordable and so, I don't want to say cheap, but it's easy to get in the Philippines. So I almost give that to the Philippines, even though it's real close, because the visa process in Thailand with an agent, was, I don't know, I thought it was easy. Yes, it was a tad expensive, and we'll go over that with her because, figures change. So on that, I'm going to leave that for that. But I want to give those 2 to the Philippines. Check, check. Now let's go on to cost of living. On that one, again, I want to say it's close. However, I prefer the cost of living of Thailand to that of the Philippines. So I really want to say check for Thailand. And I'll give you some examples. In the Philippines, my rent was $80. You've seen my apartment. You've seen the apartments that Steve has shown, other people have shown. And I want to say one thing. There is a world of difference. I don't care what anyone says. There is a world of difference between an $80 apartment and a $275 apartment. It's not even, it's almost, when I hear people say there's no difference, I almost laugh. I'm like, okay, sure. My place here is, so let me get back to the Philippines. So my apartment in the Philippines was $80, 4,000 pesos. However, the power grid and the power situation in the Philippines, I don't want to say it's laughable. However, it's laughable. My bill clocked in one time, I think at 8 or 12,000 pesos. Excuse me. And luckily I had a great landlord, and I just said, no, this is not right. I'm not buying it. And so we worked something out, and then we tried to figure out what was wrong with my meter, and we discovered a thing or two, and I certainly don't think that it was on purpose. However, the end game was that my rent in the Philippines with my power ended up being regularly 160 to 180. Okay, so then you couple in internet, and you're at 210. 220. Oh, here comes the water. Oh my God! And so my rent was literally 220, and so now my rent is, let's say, 320 roughly, and the differences are so substantial, and for what you get. And I did discover here there are $80 and $100 apartments, and I'm going to show them. Coming up, we're going to actually have a tour of my unit, and then we're going to have a tour of the $100 units, and we're going to kind of try to mix it up for you so that you can get a real handle. But food, apartment, I want to say for value, it's Thailand. Check that off for Thailand. And then we move on to the other important thing, which is healthcare. And I went to the doctor one time in 2 years in Philippines. And the experience, actually, we ended up taking a friend to the hospital who was critically sick. And I discovered at the hospitals, they weren't, it was a teaching hospital. It wasn't horrible. It kind of reminded me of my hospital back in the Midwest. The hallways were overflowing with people. It's just that the hallway in my hospital in the Midwest, when I went, because I went at nighttime or closer to night, was filled with ladies of the night and drug addicts and hit and run. I mean, just crazy stuff. And it filled the hallways, and there wasn't an open bay. So, people that talk about, oh, things are bad in the Philippines. However, healthcare here so far in Thailand, we're going to cover that too. It's a place called Be Well is where I go to in Hua Hin. And it is set up by foreigners for foreigners. Everyone speaks English. It's incredibly affordable. It's like a program you join to get discounts. And once you join the program, they give you a full panel of blood work and have like 2 meetings with you about your blood work. And it goes over things like diabetes, sugar, cholesterol, all the important things. And for all that, and my first visit, I think I paid $120. And that membership, you pay a membership to Be Well, and that's all year. And I think that it's either 10 or 15% off that you get for the whole year. And I've gone 3 times. I had a respiratory issue and a couple other small things, and they just rushed me right in. And on top of them is they have a dental clinic. And I didn't go to the dentist once in the Philippines. I don't know why. I just didn't. And I went to the dentist twice here already. Had a cleaning. Well, actually, I had a checkup, cleaning, and then I had a cap that it broke off, and it had shown the cavity. And they took care of all that for, I want to say, I don't know, maybe $90. That's all visits with the cap being fixed. So healthcare, I give to Thailand. Let's recap so far. So we have language, we have visa, cost of living, and healthcare. So Philippines, Thailand. And along with the cost of living, we have food. And anybody who knows me and anybody who's ever had real Thai food, there's no comparison to me. The food is fresh, it's affordable, and they have, and it's not like in the Philippines. I mean, we had a restaurant across the street, and then maybe 4 or 5 restaurants within walking distance. They were all kind of street food. Here, I probably have 25 restaurants within walking distance of me. And yesterday, my lunch was, it was called a clean chicken. Clean chicken, small fries, and a small salad. And it clocks in at about maybe $1.80, $1.90. And then you add water, so you're like $2.10 maybe. And also the other thing too that we have here in Thailand is lettuce, which I would call litos in the Philippines. And luckily, we had a friend named New Steve, and those of you who know Old Steve, and he literally grew litos, lettuce. And oh, it was so good. But besides him, getting lettuce and certain vegetables that I like was very difficult in the Philippines. So I give that check to Thailand. Now let's move on to infrastructure. Okay, this is a tough one. It's a tough one to say what I really think. The roads, the infrastructure here in Thailand, in my opinion, is strong. And I think in part because they have rules, and some people are going to push back at me, oh, they don't make anybody abide by the rules. I'm here to tell you that in Bangkok and in my area, excuse me, they really are, they do abide by the rules. There's no old vehicles, there's no old jeepneys, and there's not a ton, I don't think they allow them, old motorcycles with no pipe, which literally drove me crazy in the Philippines. Here, not so much. The roads, yes. Look, I don't want to make this out to be a panacea or a BS thing of how wonderful Thailand is, because every place has their issues. However, I'm going to put up footage of that I took over the weekend of traffic in Bangkok. I think Bangkok is a little bit like Manila, except I don't know, different. The vehicles are newer. The traffic seems to be, it's still crazy, don't get me wrong. It's still crazy. However, it just seems to be a little, I don't know, better. So on infrastructure, Thailand. Ooh, the water has come up to my feet. Now let's talk about things to do for me. So that's Thailand easy. There's just no two ways about that. It's Thailand. I'm a martial artist, and with a long background in America of martial arts. And when I came to the Philippines, it was tough. In Cavite, and if you know different, I was there for 2 years, it was tough to find a dojo. As a matter of fact, this is what I like to do, most of the dojos were in malls, and their mats on the floors in the corner of the mall. I ended up going to a personal trainer in the Philippines, and that was okay. I had a great gym there in the Philippines, but the personal trainer was half my age. And I really appreciate when I do martial arts that I work out with somebody who's closer to my age and closer to my experience to martial arts. It just makes for a better workout, less painful in the end. So we have in Hua Hin, we have go-karts, there is a Muay Thai, there is a dojo on every corner. And I found one, and I've been with them for 4 months. And it's the best decision I've ever made. It's helped me I lost like 2 more kilos since I've been here. I've lost a total of 10 kilos since I've been in Asia. And if you go back and look at my older videos, hopefully you can see it, whatever. I know that I'm working hard to be healthier here. And I think it's easier here in Thailand. I don't know what you think. I'm interested to your opinion. But if you're thinking about whether it's Thailand or the Philippines, I would implore you and ask you to go to both. I didn't. I just went to the Philippines. I still think it was one of the best things I've ever done. The Filipino people, that's the other thing we can talk about too. Filipinos are, they're so warm and so friendly and so loving. Most of my friends in the beginning were just Filipinos. They were not. I hardly had any American friends when I got my SRV on my own before I even met Steve. So we kind of met after I had done a lot of my own legwork and a lot of my own minutia, So here it's a little different. They're a little more conservative. It's not better. It's not worse. It's just different. There's not a karaoke machine on every street corner here. Right now where I'm at, there's not roosters, there's not dogs. So with that, and those who know me in the Philippines, it was an issue. And it's been an issue for other expats too. Now, if you're one of those people who can sleep during a bomb, I never slept in the Army. I mean, it was a huge issue for me, and it's a huge issue for me still. It seems like us expats have insomnia in common. And I'm no different from that. So what I'm saying is that it's a preference thing. There's not one that's better or worse. It's a preference thing. I think they're both friendly people. They're both, I think, are super kind. And it's just what you like. But I would implore you, I'm in a place called Hua Hin. And I kind of put it to Tagaytay. In so much as that Hua Hin is a kind of a tourist destination, more so than I thought. And Tagaytay, there's no doubt, it's a huge tourist destination. And it's a huge tourist destination for Manila, and it's a huge tourist destination for Bangkok here. So this is the first in a comparison, and really, it comes down to your preferences. And it only took literally 3 days. Literally only took 3 days for me here in Thailand to know that Thailand was my place. Even though I didn't tell my friends until like half a year later. Because, There's no feelings to be hurt here. They're both wonderful places. They're just different. So I'd love to hear your opinions. And again, on certain issues, Philippines is right up there. On other issues, I think Thailand is up there. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you found. And I'm open to your suggestions. I have traveled a ton in 6 months, more so than I traveled in the Philippines. And that's on me. That's not on anybody else. I know that there's beautiful places in the Philippines. I just didn't go to enough of them for me. With that in mind, this is Rich in Thailand signing off. And our next video will be on apartments and rents in Hua Hin. Have a great day. I'll talk to you later.